good afternoon, everyone. This is a paper jointly prepared by Kavisha, Alagiya and Ms. Alpa, Ponda, focusing on the learning process, which is titled as Are We Learning? Revisiting the Learning Process by Technology, Usage, Hindrances and Improvements. So, first of all, to understand the process of learning, we shall start this presentation with understanding what is learning. So, learning is a process of acquiring skills, values, understanding knowledge, behaviors, attitudes, and preferences. So, learning basically brings a change in the attitudes of the learners. Secondly, the COVID-19 crisis has allowed teachers to share knowledge via video conferencing. So, platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, Skype, Cisco WebEx has provided a great opportunity to connect teachers and students in a virtual classroom rather than traditional classroom. So, a learning system based on formalized teaching, but with the help of electronic resources, it is known as e-learning or online learning. The main aspect of learning from the learner side is involvement. The complete involvement of a student makes him or her a learner. So the researchers here defines how it is used, how technology is used, what are the hindrances, and how also suggest the methods of improvements. Methodology. The researchers has employed the technique of framing questions in form of a questionnaire as a part of survey to collect data for the interpretation. There were 12 questions mentioned in the questionnaire, and as an inquiry, it was distributed or shared approximately to 300 learners. But the researchers had got 70 responses. The questionnaire was shared and distributed, dividing the survey into two aspects. As it is focusing on online learning, so technological aspects are taken into consideration, and the complete involvement from learner side as an inquiry to the involvement, we had considered the researchers has considered the psychological aspects. Next, jumping to the technological aspects, the very first question was asked that to the respondents that have they attended online session or not, or if they had, then how many of the online sessions had they attended? So 50% of the respondents replied that they had attended up to 5 webinars. And to draw the method or or as an inquiry to the internet connectivity, we had the researchers has also asked what kind of internet connectivity they have. So they had replied 4G internet connectivity. So obviously learners would involve themselves if the teacher is presenting. So the next question was, which kind of device are the learners using to attend webinars? So the majority of the learners had replied, 84.3% had replied mobile. They are using mobile as a device to attend webinars. And one of the advantages that mobile can be taken in hand and can be taken to wherever the learners go. So it may happen that learner may engage in different activity, or say in some kind of other activity rather than attending the class. As because if they use laptop or computer, then they would create a kind of zone. So a learner always need a kind of zone environment or atmosphere for learning. But here they are using mobile, so it can be inquired to their learning process that whether they are learning actually or not. Coming to the next question, many of the learners, like 72.9% learners, are saving their data peak for the reason that they have to attend a webinar. So their main aim of the day would be that whether they have enough data or not, to attend a webinar. Like if a webinar is going or an online session is going, they would be constantly thinking whether their data would be there or it would be exhausted in between the lecture. So they would not be able to concentrate properly, or they would not get totally involved in the process of learning. Furthermore, they have some disturbances. So which are they? Like poor internet connectivity or popping notification, as they majority are using their mobiles. Additionally, unnecessary admiration and ratings of the participants in chat box, or needlessly screen shared by other participants can also avoid their learning process to get fulfilled. As well as the PPT slides heavily loaded with words, like 71.4% of the respondents believe that due to the heavily loaded slides, they feel disconnected sometimes with the speaker. Like as you will see that if the speaker is speaking, the learner will be concentrating on the slides or reading the content. For the psychological aspects. Now, how many persons are feeling that they are totally involved? Obviously, 55. There is a dilemma from the respondent side. They are in a dilemma whether they are totally involved or not. Sometimes technological problem like video getting blurred of the speaker, needlessly screen shared by other participants, and speaker's audio gets muted sometimes. So they don't feel totally involved. Furthermore, health issues, yes, like focusing constantly from morning to the evening on the screen can cause visual problems or inability to focus sometimes. And yes, we had also asked that whether the materials provided by teachers on soft copies especially are sufficient. So they were in a dilemma that maybe they can satisfy their curiosity by reading online, but still there is a need of a teacher in a classroom to make the learning process seamless. Online learning should be welcomed in the time of crisis. It's fine, and 20% of the respondents see that online learning should replace the classroom. Furthermore, technology should be welcomed in traditional classroom. That 44 of the respondents out of 70 replied that. Yes, you can also practice this. Like this slide is heavily loaded with words, and while you are concentrating to read the content, you lose the focus of what speaker is speaking. Here is the response. Like we had asked the question, write a paragraph on what you have learned from the 5 webinars which you have attended. So only 5 to 6 of the respondents were able to grasp the question and had written a good summary or express their knowledge of the webinars. Here is the second screen. Yes, some of the participants had had given an amazing response that no comments or I will think upon it. Or I have learned to use Zoom. Yes, basically when a learner is focusing on so much on the technical aspect that he forgets to learn what the speaker is trying to provide. So the learner focuses his attention on the technological aspects and diverting it from the content shared by the speaker. And most of them were not able to write what they have learned. It is assumed that offline forms are more easy to write, that we can write paragraphs on offline form, but while submitting an online feedback, then we have a very less amount of words to express. Furthermore, a suggestion was also given to us that webinars are becoming a parody of sorts. They have to be conducted by keeping in mind qualitative issues. Next, observations and limitations. As the researchers led the prior counseling, they had received a limited number of responses. 1/4 out of 300, only 1/4 response was achieved. Technological glitches affect psychology of learners. So this is the main observation of the researchers, that while focusing on so much on technological aspects, that they really forget to grasp the content shared by the speaker. And yes, questions and inputs are all obviously welcome. To conclude the presentation, here are the references. To conclude the presentation, it can be said that the researchers will further try to explore more by circulating the questionnaire, once again after making it more precise for the